me if I kill that bird.
Barbara, that's a bald eagle.
Get away, Baldy! Yeah! Oh, well, good evening, and good evening. This is The Wort with Mike, Pete, and Steve, GubsRadio.com. Tonight, Steve and Pete are both here. The duo and the trio are in action. Tripod all day, every day. You're on.
Now I don't know what to say.
No.
I missed the fucking moment.
You like the try? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Wort with Mike, Pete, and Steve, GubsRadio.com. We are live here at the biggest and the baddest comedy store in all of Long Island, Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown. And we have a very special guest for you remote tonight. Before we begin, we have some things to do.
Dings.
We're going to start with a little bit of Rosie's Draft Solutions. Stephen, take it away.
Dings. We got things.
Rosie! There it is.
Draft Solution is a Long Island family-owned business that provides professional draft system services, line cleanings, and maintenance, draft beer line system installs, event dispensing solutions, and more.
Okay.
They are passionate about craft beer and making sure it has the same quality as when it left the brewery, and is only done by making sure those draft system beer lines are perfectly
Clean pipes.
Cleans.
Rosie services bars, restaurants, halls, events, and all other beverage establishments, including home kegerated installs across Long Island and Westchester. You can reach them at rosiesdraftsolutions@gmail.com or call them at 631-219-2075, Monday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Mention the Wort. You're going to get a Brazilian wax.
Oh, God, now that's crazy.
It is the season.
And a candy cane.
No, a candy cane. Leftover candy canes from the seasons.
No. Mention Wort and get a nice little discount.
That's right. Go ahead and give Nick a call. Tell him the words, and she'll receive a little percentage off your service, your hardware, or anything of thereof. Rosie's Draft Solutions. And Peter, would you like to take it away for Beer Maker?
Beer Maker.
Yes.
Your at-home countertop all-grain brewing system. App-based. It's got a little app.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Appy.
App. Brew all sorts of beers at home. Follow along on your phone.
Yep.
Little progress reports. It makes a little tugboat sound when it...
Boop, boop, boop. Oh, no. That's the...
It's not the Islanders' goal scoring.
Nope.
No, okay. Really, the hockey goal score. It's everybody.
Promo code The Wort.
Yep.
Little discount. Buy all sorts of fun stuff on there.
That's right. And go to BEERMKR.com or follow our link tree in our Instagram bio, and send you right to our page where you get your 20% off your beer maker today. Today, we're also sponsored by Brewbag. Brewbag for your beer pong cornhole. Outdoor games is starting to warm up. Man, it was like 60 degrees the other day. I was thinking about breaking out that Brewbag, and then I remembered I'm getting older, and I can't just do things on a whim like that. So I dreamed of it. I definitely dreamed of it and thought it was a great idea.
And then you cracked the beer and said, fuck that.
That's exactly it. I stayed right there on the couch and said, nope, I'm going to stay right here. So go to Brewbag and also go to our bio in our Instagram and hit the link tree, and you will get a direct link right to your page where you can receive 20% off, or you can type in the promo code THEWORT to receive your 20% off your brew bag. They also have some really cool vinyl logos and branding for all the breweries. And there's tournaments going on upstate, so people weather the cold up there. They're a little hardened, and so they play their brew. Yes, they brew their bags. Even in the colder months. And listen, football season's winding down, but baseball season's right around the corner. So grab your brew bag today. And finally, we're also sponsored by Brewers Hardware. Brewers Hardware for your small batch or large capacities. Go to brewershardware.com. And thanks to Brewers Hardware for supplying us with gifts that we get to give back to our brewer guests. And speaking of our brewers guests, on the remote tonight, we have Greg from the Source Farmhouse Brewery in Colts Neck, New Jersey. What's up, Greg? What's going on, man?
Cheers, fellas. Thanks for having me tonight.
Yeah, man.
Thanks a lot for being on, and thanks for sending us some beers. We got a lot to talk about. I've been to the brewery, so I have some little firsthand experience, but we want to hear a lot about the story and all that other good stuff. And we got a lineup here that you sent to us, and I know as we follow the social media, you guys have stuff coming out all the time. It's like nonstop barrage of things coming out nonstop, and we want to get right into all of that. So, Greg, tell us a little bit about yourself, and tell us a little bit about the history of the Source.
So Source started in 2017. I formed it with my business partner, Philip Petraka, and his wife, Carrie, and we've been on this venture. We opened the doors in 2018, and So here we are now at our Farmhouse Brewery location in Colts Neck, New Jersey. So it's been a great ride so far. We've been humbled by the amount of people who have shown us some support, and we've been able to create a lot of really interesting beers in that time frame. And
Yeah.
it's definitely been a ride. Weathering going into the pandemic as it's a taproom focused brewery to switching to going heavy on canning when the tap room is closed to now having a nice mix of offering that unique tap room farmhouse experience here. That was our entire intent to build, while also balancing can releases in the mix every week, where we have some really interesting new beers coming out all across the flavor spectrum, always carrying a nice selection of lagers, seasonal farmhouse saisons, darker beers, some barrel-aged beers, some mixed fermentation beers.
That magic word, you perked
right up.
Peter perked right up when he heard saison.
I'm sorry, you said saison?
Yeah.
He gets a little tingle.
Package.
What was that? Sorry, Greg.
Yeah, I think I threw a saison
You did?
in that,
Yes.
that care package. I wanted to represent a little bit of the fun spectrum of beer, and
Cranberry
that's what we
saison.
try to do here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
So you're going to be
I think it was
dry with a
cranberries.
little saison in it. So yeah, Pete's already checking it out. He's already earmarked that for the next beer going in the glass.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
Perhaps. I want to back up for a minute. You in 2018, you guys started this. Did you guys have jobs before? Did you guys work at breweries before? Like, where did that start? Where you decided, hey, we're gonna open a brewery.
Yeah, so I had some experience in brewing. I had, I attribute it to some early travels throughout Europe, kind of getting a knack for or interest in beer at an early age that kind of got me into home brewing in college, and then early on kind of switching careers and going full into the brewing rabbit hole. So I ended up going to the Siebel Institute of Technology in Chicago, and
my alma mater.
oh, great. Cheers.
Got the
man.
hat on today, too.
You do? Wow, look at you. He didn't plan it, I promise, Greg. He didn't plan it. Here, look, there you go. Here he is with his hat.
Oh, nice.
There you
Yeah,
go.
so through that, got a chance to learn and brew and do some exploring in Germany and Belgium, and get a sense of brewing history and traditional styles, and having an opportunity to create something that's truly unique here in Colts Neck that can give a taste of beers from all over with our own little local touch in what's I think a very important aspect of our business model is also the experience and how we deliver it, whether it's the farmhouse, reclaimed building space that we're in, or the glassware, or just everything kind of boils down to the details that create an atmosphere where you can bring a family. It can have space for dogs, space for private parties, space for adults only, whether it's indoor, outdoor, and our 2-level space here. It's really designed around and enjoying the entire beer drinking experience. And, of course, a lot of the emphasis and foundation is on making the quality beer to begin with. So,
Yeah.
I'm sitting up here now in our second level mezzanine with a little bird's eye view into all the stinks
Nice.
in the next room.
I like he's got a mezzanine to his brewery.
Yeah, you got some great sunsets if you walk out these back set of French doors up here. Really beautiful beer garden space, and it continues to kind of thrive and grow out there as we get some good new tables for picnic space area, get the lawn in there, some shade coverage, and new astroturf space with some fire pits, and
Yeah.
becoming a cool space out there to hang out.
So let me give you the firsthand experience on my end, and then we could rocket it off from there. So I'm in New Jersey for a birthday and then New Year's. It was New Year's Eve. I was at Source and was picking up some beer for the New Year's Eve festivities. Had a great time. Walked well. First of all, threw it in the GPS. Easy drive right off a main road. They have their own what it looks like a compound, right, Greg? It's like you have the distillery just off to your closer to the highway. You're set a little further back. Sprawling building, like you said, reclaimed farmhouse. Really cool atmosphere inside. A lot of reclaimed wood and information that you can find about the brewing system and all that stuff. When you walk up, there's tables off to your right, and then there's a little sitting area in front of the bar. So then he was mentioning before, it's split up where there's an adults-only spot upstairs. So there's a good amount of space down there for the kids and everything else, which is who I had with me, unfortunately. But then the space upstairs was beautiful. I walked up there, took a look around where he is now. Awesome porch. Outdoors, it was a little chilly New Year's Eve. Warmer than usual, but it was chilly. And, like he said, sprawling area, lots of room for growth and expansion. You could have festivals out there. There's some really cool spots. And the fact that the distillery is there, you can make like a nice big, conjoined collaboration festival. Beer list was extravagant. I think it was something like over 18 beers on tap. Greg, am I right around that?
Yeah, that sounds about right. We
Yeah.
maxed out around 24 beers here on tap.
Yeah,
that's a lot of
nitro
taps.
tanks firing
That's a lot of
and
taps.
everything. Yeah.
I mean, I saw there was definitely like, I think a cider, a guest tap cider or something of that nature.
We do a in-house seltzer.
And an in-house seltzer, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So the
so
selection
like-
is pretty broad, which is awesome. But the amount of variation in the beer that they had between saison and blondes, and like 4 different variants of IPAs, of juicy, hazy, dry, single, double. It was phenomenal. I stayed away from I think it was a triple on tap at that time. I stayed away from that.
That's
I had to
usually your
drive.
jam.
Yeah, it is my jam, but I had to drive like another 20 minutes
He's
away.
usually that's first one out. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go with the triple.
Yeah, triple? No, I'm not kidding. That's usually the first one locked and loaded for sure. But I mean, just the amount of different beers on tap. So that's the one right there that I had. Source is wait, which one is that? Source is happiness or hoppiness.
Okay. Yeah.
One I had from New Year's, and then you sent the others. And like I said, what we've been noticing on social media is a lot of different variations of stuff coming out, and that's great because I love my IPAs, but I don't want the same IPA over and over again. I want to try a little more piney, a little juicy, a little hazy, and then maybe get into something a little low ABV, low cal. But that's it. Like having that variation was important for an IPA drinker, and you guys really hit that on the nose when I went in there and I had my selection. It made the decision hard. That's the hardest thing. Like, which IPA am I going to have? I'm only going to have like 2 beers because I have to drive away. Which ones am I going to pick? And the other ones I took with me. So, and you guys, you were explaining the space. How did you acquire the farmhouse?
So we were looking in this kind of Colts Neck general area. At the time, I was living in Asbury Park. My partner, Phil, was living in Howell. And so it's kind of like in between the areas that we lived, and also kind of an underserved town for breweries at the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some new breweries that have opened in the general vicinity since then, which is awesome. But I think, they could definitely have used a brewery in that general area. So that's kind of where our eyes were looking in terms of like what real estate was available.
Right.
Once we isolated a property or 2 in Colts Neck that we then visited, we were kind of made to look at an area that they were trying to develop as their central, business corridor. It's not very developed too much commercially here in Colts Neck. It's very residential, very farm, golf course, equestrian. But this was the kind of the area that they did want to have the businesses lean to. So we were shown, kind of the property that we're in now, and a couple old silos with an old patina on them, and hay lofts that we we're looking about removing and working with the wood to create tables and the front face of our bar, and we were kind of just putting the pieces together. We could put the brew house here, the bar could go here, so all the stars really aligned. And as you guys mentioned before, the distillery next door, unaffiliated business, they were under construction at the time too. They had actually subdivided the property that we're on now from the previous owner, which was we're only the 3rd owners to ever have the building. It goes back to like the Civil War.
Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah, a dairy barn.
So what is the population of ghosts on the property currently?
A lot of old beers past, I guess.
Yeah.
We started hanging up some of our cans to show our artwork along some of the beams, and it got to a point where we got too high up on the ladder to get risky to hang them anymore. So we got about a year stretch hung up, and it's now they're just coming out new, and we'll bring back some some favorite beers from time and time again.
Yeah.
But the place isn't haunted.
More
No,
importantly.
no haunting.
Okay.
It's all positive vibes here
No.
now.
Maybe they're cool like hippie for ghosts. That'd be awesome.
Hey,
Hey
Yeah.
man, you have a beer, bro? I like I said, the space was amazing. It was nighttime when I was there, but we were able to kind of walk around a little bit. And yeah, I mean, how is the benefit of having the distillery right there on the same kind of plot? I mean, is it working out? You guys working together? How's that relationship?
Yeah, it's pretty great. I mean, you gotta think it's cool to have a related business that, generates interest in the area overall. And, we're both right next door to Delicious Orchards, which is
Yep.
been a huge, point of interest long before either of us were there.
Think about the
So-
potential of going like out east in Riverhead and having a brewery and a distillery all within walking distance of where you're picking apples, or where you're
Exactly.
doing your pumpkin picking and all
you
that
can
stuff.
make those activities a lot more tolerable.
That-
That's for sure.
Yeah.
That makes driving home very, very
Well,
precarious.
it's a little different in New Jersey. Like things are east, west, north, south. So you can, there's a lot of open land there where you can just ditch your car in a field, and everyone will be all right.
It'll be okay.
All right, kids, just grab some ears of corn and let's go.
Okay, kids, take a little nap. Here we go.
I'll be back with the gas can in a few minutes. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So you guys, obviously had the experience walking into this. You opened in 2018. Give us the experience of that first kind of opening weekend and how how the people and the community came out, and bring us up until COVID, because we've been talking to everybody obviously over the last few years about what COVID did to their business. So bring us up until that point from opening to COVID.
Sure. Yeah, we had a ton of support from the community, and then what became our regulars and customers, and friends that we see coming in every day here. But we had a good ribbon cutting ceremony. We actually did a hop vine cutting ceremony.
Nice.
Very
A lot of
nice.
people showed out, and our grand opening lines out the door.
Yeah.
There was a couple times during our first 6 months where we had to close down because we were out of beer and had to wait for the all finish up. And you kind of brew those initial beers for when you launch, and you're like, okay, we've got some beers to go, and it's going to take several weeks to back it up. So after the grand opening, we just started hitting the gas and haven't really stopped hitting the gas
Yeah.
since. Keeping all those tanks full. We're undergoing a little bit of a bump out with our footprint to kind of engulf our driveway and get a few more tanks in here. But yeah, so we were focused on the tap room experience, as I mentioned before, and hadn't done any canning in the first 6 months of being open, and always thought at some point we'd get into canning, and
Yeah.
maybe we do like a beer that we do every so often, and kind of lead with that. And we had a decision to make when everything shut down during the pandemic in the tap room, where we're getting like 98% of our sales, and we just we called in mobile canning company Ironheart, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
bring
I was going to say Ironheart does East Coast. They're here up in New York and Long Island as well. They're everywhere. They're like, they have locations. They have like mobile units in all states. What are they?
They've got territories.
Yeah, territories.
You get a crew assigned to you on your territory, and yeah, they're great. They come in, we coordinate all the supply chain stuff that we need, and they come in and bring a couple skilled operators to get the job done.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we emptied all the tanks that we had beers in, and we set up an online kind of pre-sale situation, and we were really fortunate and had a ton of support, and beers sold out, all the beers, and we ended up crashing the website a few times. And,
There you go.
All the
Some of those
all
good
the
problems.
good problems to have.
yeah, so we're like, let's go. Let's continue to just brew as if nothing happened. And, rather than put all the beer into kegs and serve them over the draft, at the time there was no tap room. So it was all going into cans. And,
Yeah.
that's what really showed, like, okay, well, we have a bunch of people who would be getting our cans, and we built a list of, thousands of people that get alerts each week
Yeah.
for what people are coming out. And every Friday at 9 a.m., new beers come out. You get fed pictures of the beer, the artwork, and a nice detailed description of what's going to be coming out that Friday. in the days leading up, and then you'll get the alert, and then you can go in and reserve your beer and then come pick it up at the brewery.
Now, you guys
So-
are fairly well known for your artwork. Who does this? Is this an in-house person? Do you outsource this? Who's kind of keeping, the logo throughout, but you have, your branding right. You got your thing on the back, which tells you the beer and what it's fermented with and some information about it. So you guys are consistent with your brand. Who's taking care of all that?
Yeah, it's we got a very talented artist that we work with. She works kind of exclusively through us, or with us rather, and as like a freelance, side gig for her. But she's very talented and does it professionally. And she works with my partner Phil, who's got a great marketing mind. And we all kind of bounce ideas about the names and kind of feed some mood images of what we're thinking about, visuals, and what we want to convey to the customer about what may be in the beer, what to expect flavor wise, experience wise. So that kind of all goes into it. And now that we've got such a great rhythm, it's really easy communication the way we have it all set up. And she really understands. She gets the brand. She's kind of been with us from the beginning. Kind of really interesting how we met actually was during the demolition process here at the barn using the reclaimed wood. Her husband was a table manufacturer out of Philadelphia, and just overheard Phil and I talking about looking for an artist and said, hey, my wife does that. I think she'd be really interested in working with a brewery like you guys. Should I connect you? And turned out she was perfect, and she's been awesome. We haven't looked back since.
That's got to be a home run if you're an artist, and all of a sudden you get a brewery, like that.
Especially one that's putting out so many beer,
beers
so
constantly,
often,
putting together collaborations between, the beer and the style and the look and everything. It's especially if you like beer, it's got to be fantastic to constantly have that, source of creativity getting into the brew house and your work's going out there. You guys have, expanded past Colts Neck. No, you were talking before. You guys are in Philadelphia itself. Big Eagles fans?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I'm a big Eagles fan. Phil's Giants fan. Yeah, I was in Philly last night actually at the
Oh boy.
Fishtown location. It was a rough one.
Yeah, I mean, how many cars do you see flipped over?
Sucked out of the room towards the end of the evening as people were closing out their checks. So, I am an Eagles fan.
All right.
Season, but
it was a good season regardless.
Good
I mean,
for the viewers, good high scoring, close game came down to the end of it. But the spirits were low in Philly. But
how many greased up poles did you
poles.
see on the way home?
Fishtown was pretty tame.
All right,
at least that I saw. It was right next to 95, so I kind of
hopped on and got the hell out of Dodge.
I didn't go storming the city hall. I didn't want to. I wanted to avoid that.
Yeah.
Are you guys near the Barcade over in Fishtown?
Yeah, actually, that's a great landmark. We're right across the street from it.
Oh, shit.
Holy smokes.
Man, that's a home run right there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're sandwiched, not too far in between some different breweries and cool locations.
Oh,
right on the corner of Frankfurt and Girard. You got, other half's not too far.
That's right.
Yes.
Urban Village.
They've really expanded, huh?
And that used to be the old, the other half. It used to be the old freaking
Goose Island.
Goose
before that.
Island. Yeah.
Oh, really?
It was the old Goose Island, and then when COVID hit, they fucking we're out.
Yep. So tell me, Greg, a little bit about how you guys handle COVID. I knew we were kind of talking about the cans and everything like that. You hear the news comes out, everything's shutting down. What was the vibe? What was the plan? What did you guys do to kind of make it through that, weather the storm, we'll say?
Well, I would say the ability that we had to leverage like some online platforms and use our audience list to get people to, really the laws that allowed us to, if we can't have a tap room, to at least be able to sell, have people come and pick up beers. We had a whole elaborate, standing outside behind glass windows with masks on and like scanning QR codes through the glass panes. And, we
remember those days?
Everybody had
weird
all that
time,
kind of
right?
stuff
Yeah.
going on. It was a weird time.
Yeah.
But,
Now,
if
what
anything, it showed us that we could that there was demand out there for the cans and that we could weather
That's it.
something like that.
Yep.
So it really was a good perspective shift that I think, once you open Pandora's box and show that you can do both.
Oh, there's no going back after that.
And have cans on a regular, basis featuring cool art and interesting concepts and different collabs
And great beer.
You definitely are like, all right, well, I can do that. And if that happens, we got this core group of people who love what we do and come out and support us, whether it's enjoying it in our tap room here or even if it's just taking 4-packs to go.
Which is what I did, especially. I knew that they were available, so I went, ooh, what am I going to select today? Get a beer or two, a little sample the merchandise, and then take some to go for the little party at home. It was very nice.
Now, what have you guys experienced between the two different states? I mean, we've heard all the craziness about
all the horror
Jersey.
stories about Jersey.
How is Pennsylvania?
They've I think there's probably a reason that they have more beer produced there than I think in any other state, or at least it's per capita. It's definitely been, pretty easy. I think each probably sub-region may have their own, like, the city of Philadelphia may have their own kind of restrictions from greater Pennsylvania, but no, it's definitely, they have some things. I think in Pennsylvania and New York State, our neighbors here in New Jersey that have a little bit more lax, and I shouldn't say lax, I should say small
A
brewery.
less regulated environment.
Yeah.
Less restrictive.
Yeah. Really, realizing what kind of positive impact that these cool small breweries can have on a town.
Yeah.
In so many different ways, and just at least trying to get parity with, the states around us when, if the consumer's money is just getting, that tax revenue is going out of state, it seems like it's in the interest of local lawmakers to kind of at least get us on even ground with some of those other, beers that are coming in from out of state.
Sounds like Greg's giving a pitch for the next board meeting.
Well, you know what? I mean, if you think where they are in Fishtown, that's like a little destination right there.
Yeah.
I know if I'm going into Philly, I'm going over in that area. If I'm going to be in the vicinity, I'm heading over there. And if they make it not as restrictive like Jersey does,
hell yeah.
Where you can't maybe have a game on or you can't have live music because you're only allowed so many, yeah.
It's strange to us because we've interviewed a ton, Greg, of New Jersey breweries. We've had one of your closest relatives, alternate ending, on the show at AC Beer Fest. We've had Twin Lights on. I mean, it can keep going. Cypress, Fort Nonsense, South 40. Yeah, just a bunch of them. They all say the same thing. It's that pitch to like government. Like, dude, look how much money New Jersey breweries are bringing in. Look at the outpour and the popularity of the breweries that are there. Yep. Why are you still holding us back when neighboring states like New York and Pennsylvania don't have as strict, laws? And the only thing we can think of, and you can agree to this or not, is that the restaurant labor unions lobby. Thank you. Now I was saying lobby unions, labor unions. I was lobbyists, right? Really have a strong hold on government. Do you think that's the truth? Do you think it's to some other reason?
They're probably it all ends up financial interest at the end of the day. I'm assuming, you get tangled up in the politics, and you can see how long or inefficient that may be to get all sorted out. But we try to keep our heads down and focus just
there
on
you go.
Good politician right here.
Brew good beer.
Great diplomatic answer.
We like to insulate ourselves.
Yeah.
Whether it's one party or another. We try to be very, we've kind of worked with both sides, not to the extent that we're, actively involved, but, we try to
total line
philanthropic things, and
everyone drinks beer regardless of political persuasion, right?
Anything like that, other than sticking up for, the other producers that are trying to do what we're trying to do. And, but yeah, trying to control our own destiny and
there you go.
And, stick up for what we're doing, and also try to insulate ourselves by just kind of reaching out and directly building our audience and people who love drinking at the source.
The follow-up question to that is, do you guys have contracts with local restaurants in the area to sell beer on tap?
Yeah, we do have a, small self-distribution footprint that
Okay.
we kind of, every other week or, kind of depending with the time of year, we'll have some distro accounts, whether it's some liquor stores, bars, restaurants. Yeah, we do work with some
Call
and
them
we'll just talk
packies.
directly.
Down closer to Philly into like the Maryland area. They're all packies. Got to go to the packy, pick up some beer. You guys have you were gonna ask a question before?
Oh yeah, no, I was
sorry.
just scrolling through the Instagram feed and seeing there's a ton of variety in the stuff that comes out. But,
Right.
the one that stopped me in my tracks. I'm not a huge fan of black IPAs, but
Yeah,
like the can art on this one, Murdered Out,
Oh yeah.
is just phenomenal. I think that's just one of the coolest.
It's so
cans I've
clean,
seen.
Hey,
right? Look
appreciate
how
that.
clean that is.
The black, shiny black can, and
Yeah.
then the black on black logo.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Um,
I don't know. I
I'm
just
glad
like
you
that.
appreciate it. Yeah, we had to go through a lot of different proofs to get the finish and contrast right, to get it to kind of be noticeable, but also subtle and open the door to using black cans, which we've used a few times since then. But yeah, that was a fun one.
It
Kinda
has like
trying to
the
find whole
matte
concept.
the
Yeah,
matte
the matte
finish
label
with
and
the
the shiny
shiny
can, yeah.
behind it is pretty
Like I said,
cool.
like black IPAs are not like
But
not
you-
a favorite
you
style,
drink
but
that
I'd probably buy the fucking.
Of course you would, you metalhead.
because that's just a cool fucking can.
You're like, yes, it's anything black
Non-blacker.
metal.
Black and metal. It's yours.
That's
Yeah,
yours.
yeah.
Black IPA, suck it down. Let's go.
All right.
Give me another one. Greg, you guys, obviously you made it through COVID. You did a lot of great stuff. Coming out of it, though, what was the first like turnaround moment where you realized, all right, we're coming out of this, we're making headway, we're getting things done, and now we can open up our spot. How was that feeling, and kind of where did it bring you up to today?
Yeah, so that was obviously a great feeling. After all, most of our space, the usable space is outdoor. So when the weather's great, it's so much more space. People can just disappear and you feel like it's not crowded at all. And, you can have families outside, like we mentioned, with strollers, dogs,
Yeah.
and tons of people and all kind of in their own space and not on top of each other. So that's beautiful and that works out. And then as you can imagine the fall's pretty busy with all the seasonal action, with all the orchards surrounding us and, people out and about doing fall stuff and getting their pumpkins and picking up their apple pies or whatnot from delicious orchards. So it becomes quite a compound, I think, as you mentioned, you could say, cars filling the lot, and sometimes we'll have to kind of monitor the door to space out some people coming in on those busy Saturdays in like the September, October, November time. So yeah, it's been awesome being able to have that, and then even have people being able to get some beers to go.
How's it been? How's it been lately with dry January and coming into February now? How's it been by you guys?
So we've had a few calendars under our belt now, although a few asterisks here and there, but definitely noticed the dip in January, February, just kind of as a, I think it's
Seasonal
at a macro
thing.
level. Yeah, you see
everyone.
it kind of cools just like the weather does. And then we've definitely seen the more temperate months, like when the spring starts to peek its head back out. People want to get back outside again, and all your graduation parties and your weddings and just all that kind of excitement. And then the fall is a no-brainer with all the Oktoberfest and
Yeah.
Nice.
football season and the cool crisp weather. And the summer it's just great because the weather's nice. We got the awesome outdoor space. Some people are on vacation. Some people are at the the beach, which is not too far from us.
Mm-hmm.
But
Now, the Fishtown, do you have an outdoor area there?
there is an outdoor area actually. It's
Oh, cool.
The city of Philadelphia has allowed some like semi-temporary structures to be built out there. That's I think partially to help out with the pandemic for some of the places that had the indoor shut down.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we do have an outdoor space. It's kind of put away during these cold months, but
Sure.
we have some plans to kind of beef it up and invest a little bit more out there and get some more semi-permanent structures and
Yeah.
and some sound and plants and nice tables and like some like astro.
What would you, Greg? What would you say is the like the hottest time? I don't mean temperature wise, but like business wise, at the Colts Neck location? What's like that 1 month where you're like, that's the month that we're just going to kill it? That'll make up for January and
Dry
February
January.
months. Yeah.
I would probably say October.
Oh, okay.
September, October. Yeah.
James Port, who we had on, was very similar.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, it's near the end of the year, we'll be fine. Well, our staff will only put a couple guys on. Next thing they know, they're swamped. They're closing the parking lot.
Buses are running in.
Buses are pulling in. And what the hell is going on?
Yeah, we have a brewery in the same kind of atmosphere that you guys are on.
Yeah.
It's out east, and it's a farm brewery. And, yeah, same thing. It's right around that time where everyone's going out picking apples, pumpkins,
Yeah.
and doing all that stuff. They're making that journey out to those places, and they get destroyed in those few months, and that's really what helps them get through the whole year enough that they can take
January
vacations.
off.
No, well, take vacations to where they go, New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yes, they have beautiful pictures that they were showing us. So you guys, obviously that's kind of like a build-up over the summer. I would assume, January, February, slow time. But when does that start picking up in the warmer months? You said like April, May sometime when the sun gets a little warmer and temperatures are coming up?
Yeah, you start to see some excitement. A little peak with we do some special Valentine's Day beers, and then really for St. Patrick's Day, you get the excitement.
Alcoholics, you can say
to
it.
get all together and drink.
They're called Irishmen.
Yeah, I know. I'm one of them. I
Nitro
understand.
dry Irish stouts and some
Ooh.
nitro Irish reds and
Oh.
Wait, did you just say Nitro Irish Red?
oh yeah.
Oh,
we got one
baby.
coming out. Got one in the tank right now.
Oh, get out of here.
Oh,
Holy
there you go.
Well, you got to be ready, right? That's what?
This is true. We're only.
Yeah, I'm on
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, it feels like it's flying by right
What's so you said October is a really good month for you. What are your favorite seasonal styles for
now. Is this what, Steve's, three
I'm
questions?
Just curious. No, it's Pete's one fucking
Yeah.
question.
Pete's
said
one
October.
question.
Peach 16 questions.
So in the greatest of all beer drinking months, October,
Damn right.
you probably are gonna lean on your German lagers there, and we like to have our Lukerside faucets stacked with German style lagers for we do Oktoberfest celebration.
Nice side pours for everybody.
Yeah, so we like to have a nice crispy, dry, hoppy German style Pilsner. We like to have a Munich style Helles. We have a Fest beer and then a more traditional Marzen side by side, just to kind of show the little nuance between the more modern Fest beer and the more traditional Marzen. So I think having a nice little fleet of beers, low 6% and under, that are really clean, lagered for a long time, serving in the half-liter mugs.
Nice.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
And Lederhosen. I think that's definitely a fun time of year that I look forward to.
Yeah, man.
Beer drinking in its truest form.
No,
Wait. So, Greg, Pete just called me an asshole.
As I did.
And so did Steve.
Under our breath.
Because as you're talking about the lagers, I'm like, well, I know they sent me a lager, and you have a Polish-style lager. We're going to get into the beers in a little bit, but, they're like, why didn't you start off
Why
with
did we
that?
fucking
Why
lead
are
with
we,
that? God
why are
damn
we
it.
sitting here drinking IPA? Because I like IPAs, and that's what I wanted to start with, and these are
Two-thirds of the
delicious.
crew here is very much a lager.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, deliciousness happens.
I am.
Annoyed. I know. Well, we still have plenty of beer to go.
I understand
he sent
that.
some great stuff
But
here.
we were on the
I'm
path.
enjoying the IPAs.
Yeah.
We
Yes.
were on that path, and it was beautiful. Path
And then we have
we're
a
traveling.
saison, and we have another IPA.
No,
so
now
let's-
we're going down, we're making a right turn.
That's
turning around.
okay. That's all right. We'll go right down the hill and we'll be good.
I am enjoying the both the IPAs
Yes.
are really good. I'm
Delicious.
not minimizing that, but
Yeah.
god damn it, I would have liked to
Start with
with
that.
fucking lager.
Okay. Well, listen. We'll work our way down to that. How about that? And I don't mean that in a bad way.
That's what I got in my here, the Wing to SARS.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. That would have been
our,
nice, huh?
We
I
give
bet it's
our own
delicious.
little go of that.
Again, we have a can here. It's not like we don't have any beer here.
Guess what?
What?
Guess what? You could drink your IPAs.
I will.
Peter and I are going to drink this beautiful lager.
Listen to me. Get out of here. Daddy likes a good crispy boy, too.
Yeah,
All
you're going to
right.
get a crispy boy.
Yeah, all right. Greg, so you guys, obviously Source has done some great things over the last few months, and even since the start, gone through some hurdles, opened up a new location in Fishkill.
Where?
Sorry, what did I say?
Fishtown.
Fishtown. Did I say Fishkill?
Yeah.
Oh, like I'm
That's
thinking upstate New York. Yeah, my bad.
That's why I was like, wait a minute, they got a third place?
Holy shit. They're really expanding. So you guys obviously have done some great things with the brew house. Tell us a little bit about the equipment that you guys are working on now, and then if you can elaborate on that expansion you were talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a 10-barrel alpha system. It's 2-vessel with a hot liquor tank on a long platform and like 3 in a row, and then our fermentation tanks, we've got at the moment 4 20-barrel tanks that we'll double batch into, along with 2 10-barrel tanks. And then we have a 20-barrel bright tank, 4 10-barrel bright tanks, and then 2 20-barrel lagering tanks.
Oh, there we go.
That's a
And
lot of
that's-
stainless.
that's a lot of
That's
lagers.
That's a lot of stainless.
What are
Yeah, and
you
then our
guys looking to
hope
put
with
in?
with the expansion plan, we should be able to. I mean, everything I just rattled off, except for the 4 10-barrel serving tanks, which are behind the bar, is in like a 30 by 30 room here in our brew house.
Yep.
Brew house and cellar. And with this new little expansion, we will be able to effectively almost double our like fermentation capacity in terms of like barrelage. So
Oh.
and not it doesn't take a huge footprint to do that. So some additional bright tanks we want to do,
Okay.
as well as additional lagering tanks, so that we can kind of
There we go. That's what we
No.
wanted to hear.
keep
More
the
lagering
brew deck
tanks.
coming, but and then let some beers that take more time just get out of the pipeline and develop and rest. And
Sure.
then additional bright tanks will allow us to kind of stagger in stage and beers that take different amounts of time to come to completion, give them somewhere to rest.
Those 4 barrel serving tanks behind the bar is cool. It reminded me a little bit of Six Harbors, where the tanks are right there behind where they're serving. Kind of adds like to the
Kind of
backdrop.
like Circa, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it kind of provides a nice little
Okay.
backdrop that you're getting beer, and you feel the average person would feel like they're just getting the beer right off the tank. It just has that closeness, that coziness of getting beer right there. It's cool. So are you thinking about moving those? Are those going into the expansion?
Yeah, so actually we originally got them as serving tanks to be behind the bar because we wanted that feel where you are, in a brewery getting it, drinking fresh from, at the source. That's kind of the whole premise behind it.
Right.
And those tanks, right behind the bar, those first tanks were feeding to the first 4 taps when we opened, all until the shutdown, and then we needed to use those tanks to package from.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than letting them, have 10 barrels or the equivalent of 20 kegs of beer pouring on tap, which, if the floodgates were open in the tap room, that would be one thing. But with the tap room closed, those tanks were utilized. We're carbonating it and put it in kegs and selling it on Fridays.
It's good to have those around, huh?
Yeah,
Now-
they came in handy, and,
Yeah,
and
hell
that's
yeah.
kind of what we're going to do with this expansion. And with the 10-barrel size to it, allows us to do beers that are more, we can really fill out any gaps that we may perceive in an upcoming draft list to
Like
plug
that.
some seasonality and some color and some ABV. And we like to have beers that we have some mixed fermentation bread beers, some fruited beers, some dark beers, some lagered beers, everything, some seasonal stuff.
And if you have
So-
24 tap lines, I mean, you got to keep it varied. You can't have,
8 IPAs.
15 IPAs, 4 stouts.
Well, you can go to other half of that, but here you're going to get everything, which is beautiful. The whole lineup, and I said this before, was a great variation from beer style to beer style. I think you had at the time a German lager on. I think that was my other beer, if I'm not mistaken. But from that to an IPA, you don't get that in every tasting room, and that was the key to this, is being able to kind of jump from one to the next and having that variation to go from a stout to a red Irish ale, back over then nitro, sorry, back over to like a nice double IPA, and then simmer it down a little bit on some,
Well, you wouldn't know 'cause you
low
only had
ABV
2
lager.
beers.
I know, I understand that, but I took 2 others to go.
All right, that's fine.
Listen,
that's fine.
I did my share in supporting local business. Sure.
Now, you guys still using the mobile canner, or did you guys purchase your own?
Yeah, we're still using them. So we've got a weekly thing with Ironheart where they come in every Tuesdays and get us canned up. So
Now, is that
yeah,
both
it happens with
locations?
the expansion plan, but that's we're working with Ironheart on a weekly basis right now, and they've done a great job for us.
I'll expand on that question, Steve. So do you have brewing capacity at both locations?
Yes and no. So the stuff in Fishtown, they actually do have a basement with a brewery in it. It was formerly, a brewery before we had the opportunity to move in.
Who was
So
there?
it was called Fishtown Brew Pub.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And they
they
brewed their
were.
own beer there. Okay.
It's like a corner spot with some apartment buildings above, and there's a basement. And in the basement was some brewing equipment with no real ability to kind of
Make good
shuffle
beer.
anything and replace it.
Yeah.
And yeah, without getting into the nitty gritty,
Yeah.
it kind of, wouldn't have been to the caliber or even
Sure,
ability
sure.
to really make certain beer styles.
Mm.
So we may have some ideas for that space in the time to come. We do have the ability and license to brew there. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So that
But
that
it's
brings
a
me.
big problem to get the existing equipment out. I guess is that kind of the
yeah, and there's some stuff on the roof, and we there's no ability to actually get the stuff in the basement out.
Cut the
Right.
floor
Oh, man.
joists or just
Yeah,
completely
it
cut
was
it in
cut,
pieces.
put it in, and then space put above, and
Oh wow.
Oh man.
there's some non-starter things that
Yeah.
that's unfortunate.
We have to cut the floor joist, non-starter. Take it off the table.
Hey,
It's
nope.
done. Not
Staying where it
happening.
is.
You can make it a museum if you like.
Well, you can do things with
A
it.
little speakeasy or something. I mean, right now I'm sure it's used for storage and stuff, but
You cut them up and you hang them from
pieces, decorative.
decorative.
Make a latrine out of it.
Yeah, well, I've seen that many times.
I've seen that plenty of times. So let's talk about Fishtown for a moment and the difference in licensing between the New Jersey and the Pennsylvania. Did you have to go through an arduous process to get the Fishtown location going? Is it an easier process to get your licensing through them?
And what made you guys go there?
Yeah, like what was the draw?
yeah. So it was they didn't make it too arduous. In fact, it was never something that we set out. Particularly honing in on Philadelphia, although it was definitely within radar of I'm from northern Delaware and then Pennsylvania after that for a good part of my life. As we talked about, I'm being an Eagles fan, so Phillies has always been kind of the city close to home for me, and just a great place to be positioned in the brewing industry and kind of not far from the hub of Farmhouse here in Colts Neck. So it was definitely within striking range or radius of something, opportunity that we'd be interested in. So when one came kind of across our, before us during the pandemic, we were like, well, it was a beautiful space. Renovations had been done very recently. We really just had to give our own little look and feel, coat of paint, and here and there we did completely gut and put in our own draft system that kind of matches what we do here in Colts Neck. And
And how many
allowed
taps
us
you
to
have
move
there?
with within making the decision to being open for business was about 4 months. So it was a cool thing to take on during the pandemic, and it was a great place for us to get some more awareness in the city of Philadelphia. That is great beer drinking city.
Yeah.
Great people there. A lot of nightlife, foot traffic, very
A
different from
lot
what
of alcoholics.
we're
Yeah.
very different from what we're doing here in Coltsec, but the underlying thing being like the cool experience, the historic building, the attention to detail with the beer, and then what's unique about the Fishtown location, which we call Source Urban Brewery. It's more of a narrow, very comfortable, upscale kind of casual, pub experience that we have. Great food coming out of the kitchen there.
Oh, nice. 24,
we had
24 taps there also?
Yeah, we've got 24 taps there
Jesus
also.
Christ.
Some award-winning food. We had a 3 Michelin star executive chef kind of set up our food
Fuck.
program there. And,
Wait, what?
More
yeah, we've
detail.
got some
Need more
smashed
detail.
burgers, some smashed
Pete's kind of the
burgers.
connoisseur of the food here.
Yeah, it really elevates the experience when you can incorporate some food. Something that we can't really do here in Cold Snack, but I think when you can work in the food pairing or just be at an ultimate comfort level where you don't feel like you need to go out and get some food or order a pizza or something, you can just kind of relax, get some awesome and creative food served that is thoughtfully put together and presented to go with your beer. And something that we're really proud of, and it's been awesome to been able to work out. It's been over a year now. It was a year in August since we've been open there.
Oh, cool.
And since then we've been invited to the New York City Wine and Food Festival.
Wow.
Nice. That's an awesome time, man.
We got a chance to compete in their Burger Bash. And, we took first place in the People's Choice for best burger in New York City, which I think we're the only person only establishment outside of New York City to be in the contest. So that was.
Well, I guess I'm going to Fishtown.
Good,
Got a new
There's
destination.
a fucking burger with a whole soft shell crab on it.
yeah, the food's pretty mouth-watering. I would say
It's fantastic.
There, plan your dinner or lunch around it. We do brunch on the weekends.
Plan your weekend around
Just
it.
fucking look at
I
that.
know, I see it. And that's amazing. You're absolutely right with the food looks like it's a destination for damn sure. Greg, we have a segment coming up in just a minute, and I really want to get into these beers because we are enjoying the Polish lager right now. I got to say goodbye really quick to Instagram, so we can use my phone to play some music. So Instagram, check us out in a few minutes. So I want to quickly just discuss a few things about. I don't know. Now I lost my train of thought as I'm trying to.
Well, because you're drinking too much.
No, because I'm trying to do two things at once. That's really what it is.
I'm just staring at it. It looks like a whole crab is going to walk off the burger.
And you're pleasantly.
It looks delicious.
Yeah. We're stacking up the beers too, just so you see, Greg.
Yeah.
No, the Polish lager is delightful. Beer flavored beer, like crisp, clean, nice and dry. Yummy, yummy.
Yeah, beer flavored beer for sure.
Yeah.
A take on a Polish lager with a little, thumbprint of central New Jersey terroir, if you will. We have some. It's all New Jersey grown and malted Pilsner malt as the base, and then the hops are featuring Polish Lubelski and Slovenian Box. So.
nice.
The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
That should be the name of the next beer with us.
This is when my peoples come.
That's it. Those are my
Polacks.
peoples.
Those are my peoples. The
I
Polacks.
bet you there's a beer name for that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You probably already missed out on that one for sure.
That'd be great.
My question, that's what it was. I knew what my question was. So you said you upper Delaware, lower Pennsylvania area. I got to ask everyone that says anything related to Delaware. Have you ever heard of Bob's Old Beds?
Bob's Old.
Oh, you
Bob's
did?
Old
You go back
Beds.
to this again?
I am. I got anyone that talks about freaking Delaware, you got to go to Bob's Old Beds.
Is it something that they were, putting a lot of commercials on, or like warehouse buildings I may have driven by?
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't ring too much of a bell.
Maybe just the image. So it's during driving down. I don't know if it's 95 or one of the back roads that parallels 95, and it is a old, like what looks like a general store, and then it says Bob's Old Beds on the outside, and it has hundreds of bed frames out in like the pasture.
bushes.
They're everywhere. Like, so you know it if you saw it, but
I don't think I haven't checked that place out yet.
Yeah,
Now
I don't know if you can even
gotta
Google
find
search
out.
it because it was out of business at this point. But for the most part, one of those things that like it leaves a lasting impression. It's core memory, folks.
Buddy at work lives in Delaware, so now
Yeah.
I'm googling him if he's heard of Bob's.
Yeah,
Old Beds,
you
'cause
gotta
Bob's
text him.
great.
Ever hear of Bob's Old Beds? I had a buddy that lived down in Delaware, and we spent the weekend there back in college, and we had a house party. But I remember I have a picture somewhere with me in front of the old general store. It says Bob's Old Beds on the top. I gotta fish that out and put that up on our Instagram to show people that Bob's Old Bed has actually existed. Greg, we got a segment coming up. We got some questions for you. And we're going to take just I don't want to say commercial break, but we'll get through this quick skilly dappa doo bop, and we'll be right back with Steve's 3 questions.
All right, sounds good.
And if it ever queues up and plays, because Google's the best. There we go. All right.
There you go.
Hey, you
bring you a very special presentation. 3 questions with our very own Steve Pominski. Yeah. Steve's questions. 3 questions from Steve. 3 questions. Steve's questions. Go.
I knew he'd be back in before the skilly scat skilly sab will come back in. So, Greg, we got some. Steve has a couple of questions for you in our segment called Steve's 3 Questions. Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna go one at a time because if I give you all 3, it becomes a shit show. And but starting out with number 1, what was that first beer? What was that one beer that turned you on to craft beer that you said, all right, something's going on here. I need to know more about this and how, what else out there is this great?
Okay. Yeah. So there, a few came to mind, but the one that really stands out to me, I would say I was 17 years old in a square in Brussels, and I plucked a warm bottle of beer off the wall at the beer museum because they allowed me to buy it at age 17, and it looked cool, and it was 10% ABV, and I tried it, and it was the Trappist Rochefort 10, and that really kind of
Have not had that answer.
How spoiled are you at 17
Yeah, right.
to have a Trappist beer in the country of origin?
I just like that we've had guys go, yeah, it's Magic
Sierra
Head
Nevada.
number 9,
Sierra
Sierra Nevada.
Nevada.
He's got a Rochefort.
Yeah.
It planted a seed before it was too early to even take hold at that point, but it was there nonetheless. And there was definitely the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, after that in waves, but then coming back and seeking that kind of stuff out. I think it kind of was it didn't directly, because I was still a teenager and I wasn't buying that kind of beer in college.
No.
It took till I got back to Europe later to dig deeper into it. But that was the one that kind of burrowed its way in there that didn't even really know it was possible. Hadn't even really heard
fully
of,
appreciate
dark
what you
beer
had.
that wasn't like a Guinness or like roasty, and didn't just tasted totally different, right? Yeast driven flavors,
Yes.
dry, drank almost more like a wine, and had a huge head of foam. They served in a really cool chalice that was custom designed for the beer. So it was
Bro, when you're over at Fishtown, you could just go down to Monk's and just have a field day.
yeah, I recommend it.
Can I sidetrack the question for a minute?
Go.
What was your shit beer of choice in college?
That was Natty Light.
Yeah.
There it is.
It's always
There it
I don't know.
is.
It's always
I just
something.
find that that's a key to someone's personality. What are you drinking? What really good beer, local,
Yeah.
or what shit did you drink when you had no other option?
And no money. That was the thing.
That was the thing.
And then you developed a personality around that for about 5 years.
Yeah. You got a 30 rack of for $17 and everyone pooled their money for
Yeah.
You in for $5 tonight? You in
I
for
think it
$5?
was even less than that.
For me, it was Bud Light. That's
But that was expensive. It was Keystone Light for me.
that is shit beer.
Keystone. There
Keystone
you go.
Light.
That is real shit beer.
Because that's like I was down in Mount St. Mary's down in Emmitsburg, Maryland, and that was the thing. Keystone was a Maryland brewery, or Pennsylvania. Is it Pennsylvania? Might be whatever the Keystone State
you went
is.
there, not us.
Whatever
It
it
was
sucked.
close to the Pennsylvania border, but that's what everyone. It was $17 for a 30 rack, and everyone threw in $5. So you had 4 guys on a 30 rack, and you had 8 beers apiece, 6 beers apiece, 7 beers. Whoever was the lightweight that night, someone else got 9. That was the thing.
All right.
It was all about volume. Just to reiterate.
Just wanted to sidetrack that one.
No. That's
I like the follow up 1A.
that. I like
1A.
1A.
What was that shit beer to drink?
Beer that you fucking drank that you still remember? Second question: what is your favorite style as of right now?
Let's just back up for a minute. How many styles come out from Source?
a lot.
And,
apparently.
and
But
so
that just because you have many styles doesn't mean
no, I know you're
into all
brewing
of
it
them.
for the masses for the
Yeah.
most part.
There's
but
one that he's right now is like, man,
I definitely love a good West Coast style IPA.
Oh, I got one right here. Bingo,
Nice.
bango.
And I definitely love a good German style Pilsner. I'll throw them in there as
Ooh.
tied. They both kind of have the connecting theme of being golden, dry, and hoppy.
there you go.
So that's where I steer in terms of like sticking my hand in the fridge on not majority of the time that's going to be the go-to. Although I do like to kind of drink with the occasion or situation
Sure,
and mood
sure.
season. But go-to, it's going to be something a little on the drier side, probably featuring some hops, and it tends to be a lot of hoppy lagers.
Speaking of which, I believe this week, this coming, is Pliny the Younger release at Monk's.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Along with 1,000 other beers that they're getting from Russian River.
right.
God damn them. Third and final question. You go into a bar or restaurant.
Wait. Can I follow up with with a 2A
2A?
myself?
Sure.
Please do.
Greg, what's your favorite West Coast IPA?
Ooh,
Oh,
wow, yeah.
Oofa.
Mike with the stumper.
yeah, that's a good.
I'm really happy with how that steno came out. That's I think one of the ones I sent up with you
We
guys.
got it right here, buddy.
Now that we were talking about monks, I did have the other day there. I had some good Russian River stuff.
Yeah.
They had like the blind pig. And
Oh,
the
yeah.
the elder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pliny the Elder.
What was that
yeah,
variant
I
that you
mean,
had?
they're
I had
definitely
the
a
double
great
dry hop
archetype.
Pliny
Yeah, the double dry hop Pliny was
when I
fucking great.
went there and
Right.
fucking
Yeah, you
I
brought
got
that back.
banged. I got banged up
Yeah.
on a tour.
Were those the 16? No, the 19.5s. They weren't tall boys, right?
No, those were
The
16s.
16s. Okay.
Those were
All right. Sorry.
Yeah,
All right.
but during the tour,
yeah, they're just feeding you.
yeah, and my wife doesn't drink beer, so I'm drinking her beers, and double dry hop Pliny at like 9%, and
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
fantastic.
No, it's brilliant.
And okay, so back to question number 3. Go to a bar or restaurant. What is that one beer from any time, anywhere, any place that you wish you can have on tap?
That Trappist beer when he was 17 years old.
Well, yeah, there was I thought you were gonna go one way with it, and it slightly changed my answer. If it was like from somewhere that was it's always gonna be good, like tried and true.
And it can't be one of your beers.
Yeah, I would nod my hat to the Sierra Nevada. They do some great stuff that I've always picked up. When I'm not showered with my own beer. I can always count on it. But no, if it's something that would be like, oh, this is a treat to have on tap. If if you go out at a restaurant or a bar, particularly a restaurant, I think a Belgian beer that could kind of go with all occasions would be nice. So that makes me think of like an Orval.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Anytime kind of situation beer goes with food, isn't too strong. You could drink just on its own.
I got a question for.
Yeah? Oh, you do?
What?
Oh, whoa. Do I have to create new fucking theme music for this?
Because also, I'm like, what is that style that you actually like to brew?
Right, I like that. You want to change Steve's 4 questions? Holy shit.
50
Talk to work.
questions, Steve.
50 questions.
I do like to try the stuff that's less off the beaten track. I think a new recipe is, something your first time attempting a style is pretty fun. And from a brew day experience, the normal strength beers are fun to brew. They make for a breezy brew day because there's
You could call it boring. It's okay. We get
1,000
it.
pounds less grains to work with. Just the normal style beers that they've been making for hundreds of years, thousands of years. No big deal. new age beers maxing out the mash tuns and whatnot. But I also like it when the mash has a nice aroma with some complexity.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing in some kilned or specialty malts, a little roasty malts always is a nice treat in the brew house for everybody walking by. Um, yeah, I think having a stab at a nice traditional style that doesn't get a lot of love.
Mm.
Those are the fun ones that in the brew house that we talk about, and can't wait to get on the schedule.
Do you have a set of core beers at this point? Do you guys have like those every week, every month kind of beers that are fitting into the brew schedule?
I would say at the most we have like a every quarter beer, and
Okay.
that would probably be our source of hoppiness.
Mm.
That would be the beer that we probably have brewed the most. And if we were to lead with the beer, say with a new bar, restaurant, or liquor store, that would kind of be the beer that we would lead with. Like
Yeah.
this is who we are, this is what we're about. This is, also one of the most popular beers, and
Hence
kind
the
of just
reason
one
why I
that
bought some and left with it.
yeah, it's one of the things that we've dialed in. We love it. It's like our go-to IPA, and we like to always have it on tap. We do have some, little lapses in releases and times when it's not available, but
Mm.
there will be something in its vein, something in that kind of ABV range that probably has a different combination of hops or tweaked grain bill or new different yeast that we're working with. But we'll always bring that one back. And, there's a few others that we may do a couple times a year. Some beers that we've grown attached to that have become an annual thing. But yeah, I would say hoppiness would be our go-to.
Cool.
I want to. So you said source of happiness because this is the one we started with tonight. The blue label, blue and green and turquoise and cyan magenta, no magenta. So yeah, yellow maybe.
You can actually call it by its name.
Whatever. It's source of happiness.
There you go.
So I want to
It
start.
makes it a lot easier for people that are listening.
Right to see that, but
Because-
yes, it's just a great beer. Let's break down some of these beers because we started off the night
Wrong.
with Source. Wrong.
Well, yeah, we should have started with.
The goddamn
Damn
Polish
Polish-
fucking Pilsner.
I know. We'll get to that. I know you guys love that. So let's break down this beer. You don't have to give us any of the major secrets of this thing, but obviously, since it's like one of the core beers, we'll call it. What goes into brewing this? What's our grain bill? What's our hop profile? What are we looking at for the turnaround time and all that other good stuff?
For hoppiness, we'll start with.
Sure.
Yeah, so hoppiness, it's 6.5% ABV.
Very
Grain
drinkable.
bill is pale two-row malt with a very high proportion of malted wheat, malted oats, and flaked wheat, and then a little bit of carafoam we put in for some foam retention and some body building, and then we dial in our mash pH with some acidulated malt.
Nice.
So we'll mash for a nice medium body, and we'll hit with the hops tail end of boil, and then cool down whirlpool, and then we'll knock out and then hit the hops. We'll use an English ale strain that's a little bit that stays in solution a little bit longer.
Dry or liquid.
It's like the go-to kind of London 3
Oh,
strain
yeah.
for IPAs out there. It gives them more juicy characters. Some of the fruity esters can kind of match up with like the stone fruit and complement some of the
Are you
juicy
guys
tropical
using
fruit.
one of the bigger yeast producers or somebody local?
We go heavy with East Coast yeast.
Okay.
We work pretty close with Al Buck. He lives a short drive from us, so we're always talking shop with him and working on kind of custom blends. And we'll work with all types of producers: Imperial, Omega, Y yeast.
That brings up a good question. So, like for you guys, both Greg and Steve, is yeast regional? Is it something that obviously there's some sexy yeasts out there that people like to use, but can it be something where people can grow it locally or propagate it locally, we'll say, and have their own version of that original kind of strain from the grandparents on?
Well, you'll get a lot of, not a lot, but good breweries will have a house strain.
Right.
It'll be their strain that, because of what's in the environment, your brewery itself, how you're brewing, and how you're using, treating. If you have a lab, a lot of times you'll have a yeast that you've bought when you first opened up,
Right.
and becomes your house yeast, and it's changed over time. It
evolves.
It evolves to the tank space, the pressure.
The
There's so many
conditions.
different things that are involved. Or you use they're using someone local that they're going to get the same same either flavors, or they're going to get same attenuation.
That they've kind of evolved over time.
That
and then,
just the place that is, and again, he said, when you say London, like a London ale yeast, everybody kind of knows what that is.
Yeah.
In the industry, you hear a California, like a Chico yeast.
Yeah.
Everybody knows, that's a traditional pale ale yeast.
Now let me ask you this. So let's say you have a vendor like Greg has that propagates this. How do they lock in that specific flavor profile that they achieved? Obviously, it evolved. How do they keep it from not evolving anymore and keep it pretty similar from strain to strain?
I'm no scientist.
Yeah, so you can get different labs and yeast banks kind of set up
Yeah.
geographically all over the U.S. and there's some bigger players and smaller players, and they can all be great. Really, they have their own quality standards, and like I said, we've worked with them all. We happen to have one that's local, and because of that, we get a lot of face to face.
That's great.
Be able to bounce ideas off and really get some great input. He's super talented and knowledgeable. We share beers, mixed fermentation stuff that he's done for a long time of experimenting, and we actually the mixed fermentation and cultures with like bread and other kind of fun bugs. He really specializes in that, but he's able to bank and prop up strains, from all over. If we wanted to mimic like a German style lager, he would have a strain that Augustiner uses, or some yeast from Drie over in Belgium, and he'll be able to propagate it up and get it to a pitchable slurry for us. And then you can keep that in house and keep rolling with it, and eventually over time you can kind of it can mutate in a way that you seem beneficial and give your own little house touch. But
I was going to say, so like even if you get like a yeast broker, you can get that initial, and then you can evolve it yourself.
It's not that you will; it will. It will do it on its own.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you prevent that from happening?
Life finds a way.
But you kind of
Okay,
unless
Jurassic
you.
Park.
Well, here's the thing: unless you're looking for really something specific,
Right.
Well, then you buy new yeast all the time,
Right. Well, that's what I'm getting at.
which is.
But then, how
which
do
is not
they
cost
keep?
effective.
How do they keep then that yeast from evolving?
Again,
I'm
we
not
need
a
to get them
scientist.
on. We need to get
I
them
know.
on
I know.
because
yeah,
but that's amazing.
like
That's-
everybody's unique situation, right? Like how do you keep your sourdough?
oh
from
yeah,
other-
started going
like,
for 40 years.
Everybody's got their own little tips and tricks, and they've been doing it this way.
It's
Or
amazing.
your equipment may dictate it, your space, your budget, a million
Yeah.
different things, what you're going for, your lab capacity, how risky you're comfortable getting with letting nature kind of take its undue influence without your scientific controls. We like to be very close and direct with the lab, so we know exactly what we're pitching. Or if we're like, keeping something going or intentionally trying to steer in a direction, that we do that separate from anything that we're trying to cross contaminate with.
Now, you guys came out. Oh, the second beer we drank. You guys came out with this single silo series. It's a mouthful, by the way. But
I like it.
Obviously, it's part of a series. So, talk to us a little bit about Ultra Cascade, featuring a Cascade hop. Is this a single hop kind of smash concept?
Yeah, exactly. So not so much a smash single malt, single hop, but definitely a single hopped beer. So the single silo series is what we came up with. I mentioned we got a couple silos here at the barn, so it kind of tied in the farm terminology. But so we've been going through for a couple of years now, a few years with featuring different hop varietals, and it's taken this long to get to the OG Cascade, but it was a good time to do it because we came across. I mean, it was the fresh crop year, 2022. You know, the last stuff harvested.
Mm-hmm.
Winner of the 2022 Cascade Cup, that we were able to source through one of our hop vendors, Crosby Hops. They work directly with all kind of independent farmers. So this particular farmer out in Oregon is B&H Farms. They got the tested by their peers, other Cascade hop farmers, voted as the best crop this year. So we're like, all right, well this is better time than ever to do a Cascade focused hopped beer. So
I didn't
that's what we-
realize B&H branched out from cameras and photo and video into farms.
You
It's
know,
fantastic.
those Jewish fellows, they are on the
They are on the ball
cutting
with this kind
edge
of,
of
stuff.
things.
This is an imperial. So you just maxed out the grain bill here to try to capture the most amount of ABV you can in this series.
So we can go a lot bigger.
Oh my God, it's 8%
So we
already.
call that like an imperial strength IPA or double. We've done triples,
Yes,
which
you
are
have.
10%, the Visual Cortex series, of which we've done probably about 15, 16 different iterations. And then we've also done a quadruple IPA at 12%. Yeah. Yeah. So
Boom goes the
we go
dynamite.
bigger, but 8% is a nice sweet spot, I think, especially for perceived
Alcoholics.
value as like a 4-pack unit. It seems to be
There's the
kind of,
quad.
yeah. So, in terms of, and you can really pack a ton of hoppy flavor and juiciness without getting boozy and without getting
Sure.
sweet.
Are you
Body
guys
type.
using any cryo or anything like resin or?
Yes, we are. We actually, so this is single silo series, and then we do a ultra series. So when the beer has been brought back from the dead out of the rotating single silo series, we call it an ultra cascade, for example.
Okay.
We decide to bring that one back, and then if we and then we have a line going simultaneously where we call it the mega cascade or mega strata, what have you, and then that's where we'll feature the hop in all formats that we can get our hands on. So we did an mega or ultra cashmere beer that we
Oh
used.
man, I love cashmere.
Yeah, we used the cryo cashmere, the normal T9 or sorry, Citra, the normal T90 Citra Spectrum, which is like a downstream hop product with all the alpha acids removed. So it's like all the aroma compacted into like a flowable. And then there was
I'm
also
sorry, compacted into a what?
Well, it's
into like a flowable hop extract, like viscous kind of all the aromatic oils and compounds that you want trapped in a beer from dry hopping, without the alpha acid bitterness and whatnot. So there's a lot of pushing and innovation with the cryo, the hash, the CGX.
yes, yeah, it's crazy.
it.
It's amazing how in the last, I'm gonna go 4 years, how it's changed. How like you have, and it's great for brewers too because one, your yield is going to be so much bigger. Instead of having to throw pellet in, which what it was 5 years ago, you constantly threw pellet or resin, to up your alphas. But what they're coming out with, it's man, let me tell you, it's awesome.
Yeah, just the way that they're understanding like the different hop compounds.
Yep.
Like scientific method with really breaking down everything that's in there and what we're looking for on like the oil fraction level. I think it's kind of frontier that you're still learning about, and you're starting to see some interesting stuff in the world of yeast too, which we touched on to some extent, but also in the world of genetically modified yeast,
What-
which is interesting.
What is that? Are they like going into the molecular level?
Yeah, so they, there's some companies, Berkeley Yeast is one. I believe Omega is doing it as well, where you can say remove a gene that makes a certain phenolic. So like you get a Hefeweizen strain that doesn't make the clove, or you can get a Chico strain that doesn't produce diacetyl, or you could get a a Chico strain that does produce lactic acid. So, it's like, for quick sour beers you can use. They have
Oh yeah, yeah.
they insert genes that produce terpenes during fermentation. So, really interesting frontiers. There's that stuff going on with malt too. Kind of going back to the old school of like terroir malt, where it's tied to like a region and sub-region for a particular reason, where it's geographically aligned or the climate.
And
And
that's
like,
determining flavor, right? I mean, that's basically shaping what the beer body is going to be.
yeah, and you're seeing the micro maltsters. We just have one in New Jersey, but there's a bunch in Pennsylvania, and I think that's a cool way to differentiate your beers is saying, hey, I'm tied to these certain local growers,
Oh, yeah.
and here's their operation, here's why they're special. And it kind of just gets to a whole new depth that you can get when as you taste different beers across the country, knowing that they kind of all have their local aspects built into the flavor.
There's got to be some, benefit to having those licenses in two different states. Is there restrictions on working with certain people from one state to another, or is it just kind of open waters where you can just, bounce back and forth to whoever will provide you with the best, product or service?
Yeah, like we'll work with whoever provides the best product or service, definitely. And when we're in Philly, we work local with Philly, especially in the restaurant. We've got like local guys who make our pickles, local bakers, drop off in a golf cart. We work with local meat provider Pat LaFreda for all of our meat needs, and we've done some collaborative beers with him in the past, and some charitable events that we put on with him. And
Do you throw any roast beef in the mash tun, or
no, not yet.
Yeah.
Maybe get some indirect smoking or something.
That's where you got to get him to, impart some of your beer flavor into like sausage or something, and have that as a ripper or something like that.
Some sort of stout flavored brisket.
Paulie from Blind Bat,
Yeah.
he does that Grudzinski
Yeah.
smoked porter.
Yeah.
And he has a local butcher that makes sausage out of that
Oh,
beer.
my goodness.
And it's fantastic.
Now I'm starving. Thanks. I want to get into the Polish lager that we all very much enjoyed here.
yes, please?
I got yelled and roasted
of that.
here right in the studio. Let's talk about winged hussars.
Yeah, winged hussars. It's
Winged hussars. Sounds better coming from you than it does from me because I suck at English.
Yeah, it's a nod to some Polish iconography that's on their coat of arms. It's like it's a warrior. They use in a lot of the Polish decorative art. We actually were inspired by one of our regular customers' tattoos. He's a Polish guy who's been kind of encouraging us to do a Polish lager someday, and we've done all types of different pilsners and lagers, and like I mentioned before, always love to give new styles a go. And
Yeah.
so we kind of brought Eastern Europe to New Jersey with an all New Jersey malt bill, grown and malted here in state. That's a pilsner malt base, brewed to like a 5.5% strength range, golden international style lager, I guess you could call it, featuring Polish hop Lubelski, and then the
big Lubelski.
Slovenian hop. Yeah, the big Lubelski. And then another noble-ish with a little bit of some fruity undertone hop. There's the Slovenian Fox.
I did feel the fruity undertones. That's what I did like about it. It was just that right amount of like fruit juiciness that goes with a nice crispy lager.
It was just crispy delicious.
Loved it.
Yeah.
I wish
It's
I would have
weird
started
drinking
out
beer.
with that.
All right. Well, then you would have been complaining that you didn't have more.
We
of
could
it.
have done the whole show on just that beer. If it was just an 8-pack of that beer, that would have been absolutely fine.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. I mean, I like the variation and everything, and that's the point. Like juicy, dry, and then we got the West Coast, and then now onto the saison. So, you guys.
All I'm going to say, though, is
Yeah.
we're 5 beers down.
Yeah.
there wasn't one that and here's the thing, Greg.
Yeah.
We don't rate beers. We don't tell
Yeah.
people, hey, this was a 5 or 4.
No.
We don't do any of that.
We're not
But
Yelp.
when there is something that there hasn't been a like style that I've drank today that
They didn't knock out of the bark.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, you know what? That was no. Each
Nope.
one was like, okay, I love the notes of this. I love the body on this. Every single beer.
Yeah.
I
very
poured
good.
it out. They had
Good stuff.
retention, color. And now we're onto the saison, bro.
Well, let me
you
get
guys,
back
you
to
guys
the-
are doing a fantastic
The
job. with
Polish
this stuff.
lager. We
The-
all looked at clarity.
Yeah.
The perfect clarity
I
of that
put it up to
lager.
the camera.
You did.
Ideal crispy boy.
Yeah. Give us a little breakdown of that. I know you kind of giving us a little bit of the malt build and the flavor profiles, but what went into this? What's the timing of this? Is this sitting in lager tanks for weeks? Like what are we doing with this one?
Yeah. This one is a time-consuming beer. All of our lagers will get some dedicated cold conditioning times up to the tune of about 8 weeks.
Wow.
So we'll have about 3 weeks in primary from when we pitch the yeast to we will pass it to like a very coarse filter, particular filter, and then let it slumber in a horizontal just over freezing temp.
Really?
Yep.
Hang out there.
Horizontal?
Yeah.
What's the benefit to
Surface
horizontal?
area.
Oh, because the cold.
Well, the
Yeah,
way it's
so
laying.
more
it
exposure.
gives traditionally these yeast kind of mutated and developed to work slower under cooler temperatures, and then
The
you know,
longer the
they were
tank.
held cold, they were lagered, right? The German word store away cold. So they kind of they do some slow cleaning up over the extended colder period. Just their metabolism slowed down a bit, and it can kind of take off some rough edges that the beer might have, kind of make it all mellow and meld and gel together. It's it's a little nuanced, and to draw the line when it's ready versus not exactly ready. We'll pull some samples, but it's to be able to get it out of the production line and give it its dedicated space is what we're focused on, and then we'll let it there, and it's only going to be doing good things for us. And then we find that time is ready. That's when we get it in the.
And I guess hence the need for the expansion if you're doing a few.
Yeah, we'd love to
lagers,
get some more. We'd love to
right?
get
like
some
that.
more.
That takes up real estate.
8 weeks to sit there.
Yeah,
You need some
that's-
more.
Yeah,
Are you guys step mashing with these lagers?
not all of them. Yeah, it'll depend on the recipe. But yeah, we're able to get a lot of the things that we're looking for, in these beers off of our system here. We're steam jacketed, and
Oh,
side
very
bottom.
efficient.
We got the ability to step and kind of
Cool.
and low and ramp up. But
Now, in all your lagers, are you guys following relatively the same process, as like a zoom out view of it and just kind of changing it up with ingredients? Or are you guys really dialed into that specific beer and what it takes to make that?
yeah, we will. I guess there's a little bit of working backwards, looking at
Cloudy.
the traditional way that it is done. Certainly you want to hit color targets, you want to hit bitterness level targets. You want to understand what are we selling this beer as?
Sure.
What is the package going to convey, and how do we want it to drink? So kind of know what we want, and then put it together with inputs based on that. And if it's about getting an ingredient that is tied to a certain location for a certain beer style, like German Pilsner malt, or if we're doing a Bohemian Pilsner, 4 malted Bohemian Pilsner malt, just, we will order from the ground up. It doesn't matter if we've, we're not trying to consolidate, one malt fits all. So we definitely build it from the ground up. We actually just we got a beer in a tank right now. It's a Franconian style root beer, which translates to red beer. And it's what it sounds like. It's not quite a Marzen,
Yeah.
but it's got some specialty crystal and melanoidin and
I am super jealous that you get to do whatever the fuck you want. It's
I
like,
was just-
Jesus Christ. Like, I feel like doing this today. All right, let's just do it. What?
I was if you hit on not a lot of brewers use melanoidin anymore.
No.
And when you just said that, I'm like,
I don't think we've ever heard that
Man,
word used on this show in the 6 years that we've been doing this.
This guy, Greg, he's my best friend now.
Talked about those good smelling mouths.
Oh, God, yes.
Malt in there.
I mean, I like that he's using a half liter as he's drinking, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
I dig that.
He's at the bar upstairs just drinking side pours.
Killing
all
me
the
over
time.
here.
I need another.
Yeah, he's
No,
me.
of
I
course.
just got to give myself a beer.
I do have to say, though, tell me, isn't there nothing better? And it never gets old when you leave the brewery for a little bit and brew day's still going on. You come back and you get a waft of that nice, wonderful malt that's in the air from the brew day, and you're like, oh man, yeah, that's why I do it.
This is why I do it.
Yeah, those visceral smells and sounds and sights of the brewery, they definitely to the good feels.
So
I
he's
love
at he's at the bar right now. Those are the 4 tanks that are right behind the bar.
all right.
So he's about
I
to
got
go
some
back there.
taps.
Look at all those taps.
Look, there's only 24 of them there. Look at
And,
that.
you know, only 2 side pours, just because
Yeah.
because we can. And that's so he was looking upstairs out onto the brewery out over here, and then right here is where we were sitting, right out here. By the way, Greg, I want to commend you on your snack choices. My son really loved the pickled pretzels that you guys have.
What?
Dude,
they're
pickled
delicious.
pretzels.
Details, please.
Delicious. They're like pretzel sticks, pretzel pieces in like, you know how you get pickle chips?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it tastes like pickles. It's delicious. It's the seasoning and flavoring of pickles,
Oh.
the dill and the
Like a
tartness.
pickling spice on
Yeah.
Yes.
like an everything bagel kind of thing. But with
Correct,
pickles. Oh,
but on the pickles.
So there's actually a food truck out here on the island. It's called
What's a dillio?
no, but
That's what I would have called it.
they do pickled fries.
Yes.
And
it's pickled flavoring on the fries, yeah.
It is. They use a brine.
yeah.
So when they cut the potatoes, they use a brine that they soak them in, and then
Off the
use
starch. Okay.
and then use the seasoning that you would on pickles on it.
That's gonna be intense. That sounds like an intense French fry.
It is. You don't need anything else. You don't need to dip it in
No
ketchup.
ketchup, yeah.
No,
No salt.
nothing.
It is. Yeah.
Greg, so you have the brew house behind you. Can you get in there? Is it you still got Wi-Fi in there? You want to take us on a little tour?
I can get in
Nice,
there.
perfect.
Dude,
Look at
it's over-
that. See?
so
Well,
it's
Nettie's got
behind
a
the
half
bar.
liter side pour.
Yeah, yeah. Now you could take it on a little trip. So there's your tasting room. Like I said, with the tanks right behind. This is the door I wanted to go behind, but I didn't want to ask. There wasn't anybody. Look at all those. Yes, here we are. All right, so give us a little quick tour. Show everyone what we're working with here.
Yeah, so right behind me, this is the boil kettle. Hot liquor tank here. All right, and then down here is our mash lauter ton.
There we go.
Nice. And this was Alpha.
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 The
Yeah.
Alpha, yep.
Yeah.
So we got the mounted grist case up top, all
This is-
oversized.
Bro,
to be able
what does
to
it
do
look
the
like to you?
It looks like Dubco.
13%.
Dubco.
It looks like Dubco.
Same company.
Oh, they both have Alpha. Okay,
Yes.
all right, that makes sense.
So we got some 10-barrel fermenters behind me
Nice.
for a single turn. There's the 20-barrel lagering tank
Oh,
stacked.
look at
Oh, the
those.
horizontal one.
There we go.
Torpedo tanks. Love it.
Neat.
Then we got the quad back here of 20 barrels.
You guys
Cylinder-
optimize that
damn.
space, man.
Yeah, we got everything tucked in this 30 by 30 room. Green floors.
Yeah.
Keep it nice and clean. We got canning day in here tomorrow morning.
What's getting canned tomorrow?
Tomorrow we've got an Imperial IPA. Yeah, we've got just a single beer this week. Typically we're somewhere between 2 to 4, but we've got some beers we talked before about, January, February.
Yep.
Those for us are good times to brew beers to stow away into wood and also to can put into some bottles for conditioning. So
What's
we'll let
that?
them
Oh, that's right. Today was bottling day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And some saisons and table beers and funky collaborations and side projects and
Yes,
stouts.
please. All of them.
Throw away the acorns now and then
There you go.
yeah.
Squirrel them away.
I mean, that was one of the other things that popped out. They had like a stout bottled in the 750s. They had another, I think it was a Saison bottled in the 750s. The two offerings are always phenomenal. The beers that there you go. I don't know if it was that one, but you had another one back by the New Year's time. But it was just like, really, you have this too?
All right. Now, Greg, let me ask you, those bottles, those are all hand bottled? Do you have a machine? Do you have...
Yeah, they're hand bottled.
Oh,
mother! As we started our call up here, some of the guys were just, cleaning up for the day after a long day of hand corking and hand bottling.
Oh God!
Some bottle conditioned, Trappist style, or I guess Abbey style, double that we put in as some bottles today.
Oh God!
Some corking caging. Last
God
time I
damn
did that,
You guys want to take a trip to Colts Neck? Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the cager.
Bro, not many breweries do this. Oh yeah, there it is.
Corker.
Yeah, not many
animal.
people do this anymore because they've had enough. It's so easy to can things.
Yeah, it's some beers are just the right way as
Yeah.
the bottle.
Yeah.
And there's no
And
way
it
around.
seems special when you do that. When you
It does. No, it does.
you have a
It-
bunch of cans in your fridge.
Well-
like,
well, you know
whatever,
the
but,
process.
Like,
You know
want
the
a special-
process
a
that went
special
into
occasion
it.
is a cork.
You know, there
cage.
was people with that machine just hand corking
Well, here-
each one.
And this was my thought process. So we did bottles that were 12-ounce bottles. Right. And we, in our head, we were like, this is for somebody that's going to drink it by themselves. 12 ounces, a bottle. Yeah, maybe.
lonely in a corner.
Maybe 12%, but when you do a 750 or something like that,
Yeah.
you're sharing that with your friends.
Yeah.
That's like
You bring it to a party.
that's a community. Like, I need my buddies to drink this with me because this is going to be awesome. And I'm not going to be an alcoholic and
I
drink
was
that
just saying,
in
it
one
appears I've
sitting.
been doing this wrong.
Well, yes.
Like a bottle of wine.
You, Peter.
I don't share this
All this time have been doing it wrong.
What were you saying, Greg?
I said, yeah, it's more akin to like a bottle of wine where you can afford to pour some around.
Yes.
And
No. All for me.
Oh, for me. You love to share that 750 with yourself. That's what it is. You did you pop a bottle
depends on the beer, I guess.
Yeah, did you pop a bottle on New Year's?
No.
Do you have any 750s like laying around?
I think I have one St. James.
Yeah. The triple, the double?
I think, double. I think I have a St. James double.
All right. Yeah.
So, that's it.
That's a good one. You got to pop that.
I
You get a good occasion.
I haven't bought a 750 lately because I don't share them. Like,
My-
that's something like I'm gonna be,
Bro.
I'm
This is
gonna be
it.
by myself, and
I'm hunkering down in the peat bunker in the basement.
My chiller is just
Stacked with these.
stacked with these bad
Do you have any
boys.
Pliny's left in that?
No, you can't, man. You got to drink
I know.
those.
Those are
You drink those.
immediate.
No,
Cool,
I have.
drink fresh.
I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a lot of
I have
bad.
troubles.
I got some bad things going on in my cooler.
God. Great. You guys, obviously came off some huge brew days in the past. What was the biggest brew day that you guys had done? Canning, bottling, anything like that? What was like the biggest moments where you're like, yeah, this is it. This is the batch.
Well, I'll go with the one that popped in my head first. Was it just reminded me of a story? And you said biggest, I think, was one adjective you threw in there, so it kind of queued this up. So we do a Belgian style quad called Colts Abbey, and that's
there we
a
go.
special beer to us for sure. The first time we brewed it, I remember it was a snowstorm, but this was like, the first year we opened, and I was like a business owner, and you don't want to be down. You got beer on the schedule. You need to find a way to make it happen. And it was storming pretty bad, and like snow was all over the ground. And I was driving a Tesla at the time, and tried to make that brew day happen. I had to first go to our warehouse space and get the grains. And the plow guy had not made it to our warehouse yet, so I plowed my way into the building.
Wait, you plowed with the Tesla?
Yeah. There
That's
was like
crazy.
Is that an upgrade
preliminary
to the
kind of,
autopilot?
there had been a bunch of snow that had accumulated since the previous plow, so I kind of had to finished the job, and then I got stuck with my car, and I had to get my girlfriend, now fiance. She came and picked me up or bailed me out using the no. I was in the source van. He had to bail me out in my Tesla, and then I had to bail the source van out, and it was going back and forth. We had to get gas at a Wawa. It was a nightmare, and
Good old Wawas.
finally got back. Brewed this huge 13% beer.
No, yes.
That's a lot of grain.
A lot of grain. And then it's the first time that we're breaking in like our bottle and corker that we were just talking about, and figuring out how long of a day it entails with the quantity that we had to cork up by hand. And so, doing all that, bottle conditioning it, and then so we had those beers kind of in our warm bottle conditioned room over at our warehouse, and we sent them into a couple contests last year and ended up taking a couple medals for it.
Wow. There you go.
Oh, nice, man.
In the World Beer Cup, we got a bronze medal.
Nice.
Yes.
World Beer Cup, or the GABF, we got a gold medal.
Nice.
There you go.
So it's a beer that we're going to bring back for sure. We've got some in the pipeline now. But that beer came to mind just because of all the it made it all the sweeter when the beer came out as a success, and everybody really liked it. All those days where all those, or the times rather, where you're digging out the car, spending majority of the day just
It was
getting
all worth it, bro.
into the to the brewery. It was all worth it.
Let me tell you, that feeling when you win an award like that, when you win a GABF or you win a World Beer Cup, that is, I know for myself, you just sit there and go, holy shit, that actually just really happened. And my peers, actually the beer community thinks my beer is top. And nobody can take that away from you. That's the thing. I mean, it doesn't make your beer sell anymore. But for yourself, as a brewer, you're like, man, I'm doing the right thing.
Greg, what he's asking is, did you enjoy the orange jumpsuits that you had to buy?
Oh no. Well, that's Wireman. That's Wireman.
Oh, that's Wireman.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah, we did. We got
Did you get Did you get some Wireman jumpsuits?
We got one. Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
We got it for our head brewer Jeremy.
There you
He's
go.
awesome. Yeah, he's an OG in the brewing games. He's got like 11 plus years under the belt.
Nice. Yeah, I scammed him out of 2 suits, man. Yeah, I told him, I'm like, look, I used
Scammed him.
100% of your grain was in my grain bill.
Yeah, it was damn near close to that. For
Yeah, and I said, look, man, I have a couple of brewers, and they're gonna fight over this. There might be like a problem. I might lose somebody. And
Lose some.
and I don't. They might, stabbing. I don't know what's gonna go on in a brew house.
Who knows?
And they sent me two freaking jumpsuits, and I took one.
2 people go into the octagon, only one comes out with an orange
2 men
jumpsuit.
enter, 1 man leave. But yeah, I mean, what World Beer Cup was this?
It was this past year's.
Oh, nice.
Well, I guess World Beer Cup is now going to be every year.
Every year now, yeah, man.
So we're actually submitting our stuff next month.
For Nashville.
Yeah. So we got like 7 different beers we're gonna put in. I'm gonna be going down to Nashville this year.
Funny you say that, sir. Guess who got invited to CBC in Nashville? The warmer Mike,
you guys
Pete, and
gonna be down
Steve.
there?
I think we might. We are trying to work out the logistics, but we got the invite to be at the General Assembly where all the vendors are to do our
cool.
show live in front of everybody. I'm hoping it's a
that'll
real
be
thing
sweet.
for everybody.
Yeah, man, that's cool. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Nashville's a great city, and
Oh.
I went like
Sell me on it, Greg, because I gotta convince my wife that I can go for 5 days.
It's awesome. It's a safe town.
Yeah.
Walkable. Everything is kind of
Close.
all within your reach on foot. The
So
convention
staggering.
center, yeah, it's a clean city. You can learn a lot from the seminars. You're gonna meet a lot of people, have a blast, drink some good beers. be on the cutting edge of all the trends and the talks for what's coming up this next year.
We have a lot of friends in the industry that produce industry equipment and products and services. So that was our first draw. But then, of course, just having all the brewers down there interview people from all around the country, it just seems like a home run for us. So that was the thought and process. And again, of course, to drink all the delicious beer that might be around.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe we stumble into a seminar and no one's checking badges at the time. Who knows?
Yeah, if nothing else, you should be able to line up some good podcasts, even if they're impromptu. You know?
Yeah, the who's always there.
That's the point. That's what I wanted to get down there to try to get so GABF is really difficult unless you're a sexy female who's an influencer and they want just like the Instagram shots. Not you, Steve, but they want that. Not you either, Peter.
I just did that.
I know, yeah. he just didn't see that. So that's what they want, and I felt like CBC was more like the place that wanted the real industry people. So we targeted them, and I sent my application in, and like within a week we were approved because they saw the value in having real people that want to get the stories from behind the scenes.
Without Steve in a push-up bra?
Yes, without Steve in a brassiere.
I'm gonna wear pasties.
No, don't do any of that. That's crazy. But the idea is that's our thought, and again, our mantra of this show is just to kind of bring the stories to everyone's forefront and be able to highlight what these guys are doing. And of course, you guys in New Jersey, the amazing beers that you were doing. I knew when I went in there and tasted a few of the beers that immediately this was a brewery that we had to have on the show. Like I knew it. And
And we have those every so often.
Yeah.
We'll go somewhere and
this has to be on.
We-
How about Whitman from Saratoga? Like immediately
Bro,
I knew.
I drove up to goddamn Saratoga.
I know you did.
Went to Whitman and then obviously went to my boy.
Yeah.
Over at
Myers Creek?
At Myers Creek.
Yeah.
Ivan.
At Myers.
Ivan!
But that's the point. Like when we go out on our little family trips and stuff like that, and we walk into a good brewery, like you just know immediately after the first 1-2 beers, they're producing beer correctly. This is why we do what we do, because we want to get that story. We want to find out what's going on here, because this is amazing beer that we need to show everybody.
And that's the thing. We don't rate any beers, but if there's something we like, we want people to go. We want the word out that this is a brewery you need to go to. If you're in this area, you need to check them out because it's going to be worth your while. And now knowing that you have Fishtown and having wonderful food from these pictures that we've seen.
Oh my God!
And along with the great beer, I know next time I'm in Philly, I know what I'm doing. So.
Really quick, because we didn't get through the last 2 beers, and I want to get through those before we wrap up here. So Steno,
yeah, you
Steno.
can pronounce it with the H silent. We
Yes.
love to give a nice challenge with some, some names that have maybe some different language or influences to them. But
by the way,
there's
Black
a little
Can.
story behind them.
Black
Yeah,
Can
another
with that
Black
art
Can.
is fucking slick, dude. It looks.
Thanks, man.
I like it so much. And Pete even looked at it and was like, he didn't even look at what style it was. He just wanted to see the can art because it just looked like, Renaissance-y, but at the same time had like that metal feel. It looks, the style of it just looks phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Medusa, right?
Yeah, here's the story behind it. So Steno in Greek mythology was one of the 3 Gorgons, and of the most famous, we all know Medusa. So this is Medusa's older sister, actually. And, there's a whole backstory between some of the deities and the Gorgons kind of getting screwed over. And Steno was the one who kind of sought out the revenge. So she was way more dangerous than Medusa. And this beer is actually a collaboration part 2 with our friends over at 107 Brewing.
Okay.
They're Pennsylvania. So we had previously brewed a beer with them at their location. It was a West Coast IPA featuring one of the hops was Medusa. So they used it was called Venomous Seduction, and they put
That is a cool name for a beer.
artwork on their label. So the fact that we was like, we love the West Coast style. Let's do it Imperial Strength, and we'll do it Medusa's big sister, who is even more aggressive and and kind of got more of that bite. So
And you got a lot more hops in here. You got the Centennial, the Chinook, the Amarillo, the Simcoe.
yeah,
Just West
super-
Coast hops all day.
yeah, pungy, coniferous, kind of sweet, sticky pine, grapefruit pith, all that kind of bright tangerine peel note you want in a crisp, finishing beer that's got a nice perceived, firm bitterness throughout, but it finishes dry. It's not sweet. Um, and yeah, this is one of the types of beer I really like to drink. Anytime I get to brew a West Coast,
Yeah.
I'm happy.
You mentioned it before, and it was one of the ones to me that stood out, nice and dry and piney, like you said, that sticky icky. Oh, wheat. It was perfect. It was exactly what I love about my West Coast IPAs. And it wasn't
Right.
over the top either. Like the imperialness of it didn't kind of shine through. There was not much heat to it. It was all just, flavor.
Thanks, man. Yeah, this one, if you want to dig in a little to the grist, the recipe, it actually we lighten the body up with a touch of flake torrefied rice, and
Oh,
the grain
nice.
bill was the Golden Promise. So it's a 2-row barley, but it's like Scottish. It's got a little bit more character to it, but then also lightened out a little bit with the flaked rice. So kind of aids in lauderability, filterability. Ultimately getting a clear beer because we did dry hop it pretty good and then put it through a very coarse filter just so it wasn't looking like a hazy IPA.
Yeah. No, it had the darkerness, look to it, which gave it
Yeah.
that West Coast feel on top of the flavor.
Yeah.
A lot
Just
of what I
touch of
drew.
crystal, touch of like little light crystal, just a smidgen. Dip our toes lightly in there. I like the West Coast, intentionally unbalanced,
Yeah.
like the hop delivery. But we've been really playing with each iteration of West Coast, kind of dialing in that malt bill. Even though it's not the focus, I think it's where you can really fine tune it. So we've been
But
playing.
but without that malt bill, you don't have that West Coast.
Yeah, you need it. You
Yeah.
need something.
It needs to carry that bitter, like nice hop profile along with it.
Right. Can't be too one-dimensional.
Yeah. And the last one that we rounded out with was the one we were waiting for. I know Pete was waiting for it. It was the cranberry saison. So break us down this saison. The cranberries obviously weren't forefront, which was I like that. It's dry. Yeah, there you go. It was nice and dry. It was just the right amount of tartness that went with
That's
the
I think
cranberries.
what you get from the cranberries is the tartness.
Yeah, the tartness, not so much the sweetness or anything else
Right.
there.
Well, the first
But
thing,
the saison backbone right was
I looked
there.
at Pete and I was like,
Yeah,
it got me here.
It gets you here.
Gets it here.
Like
Nice.
A1 sauce, right? Gets you right
Everyone
here.
remembers that goddamn
Every
commercial.
time, I know you gotta, but it's true. It got you that like it was mostly saison, and just
Yeah.
that hint of the tartness of the cranberries, which really made it just something a little touch different. Give us a little background on this one.
Cool. I'm glad that translated to you guys because we do, in the craft industry today. You definitely see a lot of very literal fruited beers where fruit is
It's too much. Just say it.
very
It's too
obvious.
much.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
and there's beers that we certainly will, whether it's like a sweet tart ale or a fruited smoothie sour of some sort. Like again, it's like what are you setting your expectations for? This beer, we wanted it to be a farmhouse ale, a seasonal farmhouse ale, and we wanted to have suggestions of cranberry, and we did that by fermenting the 100% pressed organic cranberry. So it was injected during the tail end of fermentation. We ferment it. So I'll back up with the grist. So this is beer. With all our farmhouse ales, we like to use 100% New Jersey grown and malted grains.
oh, wow, nice.
That means Rabbit Hill for us here in New Jersey. So this was a Pilsner base with some wheat malt in it as well. We fermented it super dry. It's actually a blend of yeast strains that we got from Al Buck over at East Coast Yeast. And this was a mix of like a peppery, earthy strain with one that he had propped up from some dregs of bottles from Dre Fontinen over in Belgium.
Oh, of course.
It's a clean
As one
strain,
does.
so it's not mixed firm or funky. but it is kind of like their house strain, if you will, or like one of their strains that they,
But
put
I like
out.
that about that. Like it wasn't overly funky. It did the
Yeah,
right
so
amount
it's
of balance.
the yeast itself does contribute a little acidity, but also obviously the cranberry does as well. I think there's probably about 6 to 8% of the fermentables of the beer came from the cranberry injected.
Oh,
So
okay.
you want to look at it like a beer, like a saison cranberry wine hybrid, but just heavy skew to the saison. And it's less than like a back sweetened like literal cranberry like ocean spray flavor. It's more like a sparkling cranberry wine where it's like
Yes.
the byproducts of fermentation that happen from the cranberry. So it's like the derived flavors. But you do get a little bit of like almost like a tannin structure you would from oak aging that kind of works its way into the mouthfeel of it. But again, still dry, effervescent. We carb a little higher than our typical beers. And so it's more to be like a little rosé colored, bubbly in the glass.
Yep.
Drink kind of like a saison with its peppery, spicy, earthy, ester and phenol profile with some like fermented cranberry.
I mean, I got to say, Greg, I mean, like I said, all the stuff that we've had tonight, it's been all over the place, but everything seems connected in the way that you guys have intended to represent your brand. I mean, this is something that people can go into the brewery, absolutely get exactly what they're looking for based upon your tap list and everything else, and be able to enjoy themselves in one way, shape, or form, whether it be in the tap room or stuff to go. You guys have built a phenomenal, label list and brand list for what you guys have done. And I mean, like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed myself at the brewery and had a great time and enjoyed every bit of the liquid we have tonight. I want to give you an opportunity to give us the big plugs for the brewery. So give us all the contact information, both for Fishtown and for Colts Neck, and give people a little bit of information what they can use when they're traveling in and around the New Jersey and Philadelphia area.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you all for having me.
Thanks
This
for
is
being on and sending the beers.
Oh,
I mean,
without a doubt.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, it's
what a treat.
love to get the name out there, and
Fuck
that's
yeah.
kind of what these past few years have been. So, got most of our messaging through social media. So, like Instagram, it's at Source Brewing, and then the new Philly location in Fishtown neighborhood is Source Fishtown. I would sign up if you're interested in hearing more about our beers. First follow us, and then you can sign up to be on our email list. So you'll get that link sent to you right at 9 a.m. So you don't miss out on anything. If it's a beer that you definitely want to get on before it sells out, we'll put all of our hours of operation. We're open every day except Tuesday. That's in Philly and in Fishtown, or Philly and in Colts Neck here. And yeah, check us out. I mean, we'll get some beers out in distribution from time to time. We'll post that through our social medias, and definitely check out the Fishtown location and come hungry because there's some great food coming out of there. And,
It looks
No.
like
If you want some soft shell crab.
Well, let
I
me
want a
tell
whole
you,
goddamn fucking crab.
between the burgers and the goddamn crab burger thing, holy shit.
yeah, we're changing up that menu too, so that kind of is seasonal and cyclical, and it goes. It's all stuff that it incorporates beer into the actual cooking. We've got like stuffed pretzels. We got like the Jersey Boy stuffed pretzel with like there's pork roll, egg and cheese in it, and everything's
course.
made in house. We put beer into the pretzel.
Of course you do.
Yeah, we do it all the hard way. We it's special stuff, and we do look to expand our footprint in Philly, and maybe someday we'll be brewing in the city as well. So I would stay tuned if you're going to be in the central New Jersey / Philadelphia area.
Yeah.
Try to get your hands on some Source and check us out online.
Greg, you're not planning on being on AC Beer Fest this year, are you?
I don't think so. Yeah, we haven't made any commitment to it yet, so I doubt that we will.
We're not going this year, or we don't plan to go this year. But, however, we know that that's a great place for people to highlight their beer. AC Beer Fest has been a great place for us to come and broadcast from. And meet New Jersey breweries, and it's a great place for people to come hang out. But we love everything that you guys have produced, and this is something that we highly recommend. And to our audience and our people that are listening, you have a phenomenal lineup and a phenomenal amount of labels and variations that come out of your brews. Really appreciate you being on the show tonight, Greg. Thanks a lot for taking the time with us and showing us the brew house and committing to a good 2 hours of a Zoom to us.
Great beers, bro.
The pleasure's mine, guys. I appreciate you getting the good word out there about the brewing scene, helping to get that good message out and giving Source a little bit of a platform here. So, I mean, we all love making good beer, and I think it's the best time to be alive if you're in beer. So,
oh my God,
that.
Imagine a better time of craft brewing in the history of existence. This is it. Like, this is it.
You know what? No,
We're
you know what?
in it.
You know what it was?
What?
This is right there. But it was when you lived in Manhattan or Brooklyn, and there were 200 breweries in a 15-mile radius.
Everyone had a brewery in there.
Because there was a brewery in every neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even that.
But
now,
all you had was lagers.
right.
Oh, I'm fine then.
Oh,
Okay.
is that okay with you, Mike?
It's fine with me.
Just lagers?
Listen, I like lagers. There's nothing wrong with lagers. I enjoy my good crispy boys every now and then.
No,
So,
you guys are doing a great job over there, man. I really appreciated everything
Really
you
good
did. Even everything you spoke about. You gave us a lot of good energy of
and information. Jesus.
Yeah, super knowledgeable.
you guys. I wish you guys nothing but the best.
Yeah.
And I definitely plan on going. I don't know about getting to Jersey, but
Yeah.
I definitely know
You know where it is. in
Fishtown,
Fishtown,
man. I know that I've been there, and now that I know they are there, I will be going.
Greg, really appreciate you being on. Thanks a lot for sending the beers, and we'll talk to you soon.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, man.
Later.
Brother, thank you so much.
This is The Word with Mike, Pete, and Steve, GovsRadio.com. Really appreciate for everyone for tuning in tonight on Instagram. We'll have the podcast out on all of our platforms. We'll have the video up on our YouTube channel, as well as on Spotify, on iHeartRadio, on Amazon Music, on the Hopped Up Network, and there's probably one I'm missing. iTunes, right? So check us out. And we are The Word with Mike, Pete, and Steve, GovsRadio.com. And Pete, it's really good to have you here tonight.
Yes.
It's good to be down.
We've missed you.
Bro,
We missed you.
You know what? You got to stop like flying around and shooting down these like rogue things that are flying around because we know you can't
All I'll
always
say
be-
is
Yeah. So
$200 million each for the planes.
Yes.
$50,000 an hour to fly them.
Yes.
the
And they've
missile
shot and the missiles
is I think it's close to $1 million.
couple hundred, easily a few $100,000 a pop.
Oh no,
and,
more.
And Pete was behind the cockpit of every
Single
one.
one. He was the one that went Fox 1.
All right, Independence Day, relax
Yes.
there, Bill Pullman.
Hey.
Hey, this is where Mike P and Steve, GovsRadio.com. Appreciate for joining in. Steve, any parting words before we get out of here? Nope. All right, Pete, something before we get out?
Don't forget to have your pets spayed or neutered.
Boy, I've missed that. And this is where Mike P and Steve, GovsRadio.com.
Squirrels.
And there it is. We out.
Well, that's 2 hours of your life that you'll never get back.
Are you kidding me?
Please hang up and try again.
This has been The Wort on Govs Radio. I hope you're drunk enough.